welcome to our deep dive, into this fascinating world of personal development and mental health.
Right.
You've given us some super interesting material to work with today.
Yeah.
Excerpts from a couple articles, actually.
Okay.
One from the UKCPD website.
Okay.
It's called How Personal Development Promotes Positive Mental Health.
Interesting.
And then the second one's from ThriveWorks.
Okay.
And that's called Unlocking Your Full Potential, a Guide to Self-Improvement.
That's great.
So, we're going to try and tackle some big questions today.
Yeah.
Like, can learning new things actually make you feel better?
Right.
Can setting goals really reduce anxiety?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
Let's see what we can find out.
It's fascinating to think about those questions, right?
Yeah.
We often think about personal development as this thing that's completely separate from mental health.
Right.
But these sources are suggesting they're a lot more, intertwined than we might realize.
Exactly. And both sources start by highlighting the importance of self-awareness.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like they're saying, before you can improve anything else,
Right.
you got to understand yourself first.
You've got to know yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Haley, have you thought about that?
I mean, that's a crucial point for sure.
Yeah.
The UKCPD article even emphasizes self-awareness as the foundation for both personal development and good mental health.
Right.
They even go into this concept of emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting.
Which is basically your ability to understand and manage your emotions.
Okay.
And recognize them in other people, too.
Oh, so it's almost like reading people, too?
Yeah, like social awareness, almost. So you can understand how they're feeling.
It makes you wonder if people who just always seem so calm under pressure, have they, secretly mastered emotional intelligence?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Have you noticed when you really understand your own emotions?
You can kind of handle tough situations a little bit better.
Absolutely. It's like, think about it this way. Have you ever just felt like your emotions were kind of controlling you?
Oh, yeah.
Understanding them can actually shift that whole dynamic.
Okay.
And give you a lot more control when things get challenging.
So you're kind of like the master of your emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where CBT can be really helpful.
What's CBT?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
It helps people identify and change negative thought patterns.
No, interesting.
That could be contributing to their struggles.
So it's almost like rewiring your brain.
Exactly.
To react differently to stress.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about goals.
Okay.
The ThriveWorks article, it's all about setting these really clear goals as a major part of self-improvement.
Okay.
But then the UKCPD piece takes it a step further and asks, hold on, how does all this goal setting impact our mental health?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's one thing to set goals to get things done.
Right.
But does it actually impact how we feel?
Yeah, it really does.
Okay.
Research shows a really strong connection between having this sense of purpose in life and overall psychological well-being and working towards goals gives us that sense of purpose.
I see.
Think about it this way. If you don't have anything to strive for, it's easy to feel lost or helpless, right?
Yeah.
Goals give you direction. Like a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, and don't forget that amazing feeling of accomplishment when you actually achieve a goal.
I love that.
That rush you get.
Yeah.
It turns out there's a scientific reason for that.
Really?
Yeah, so achieving goals triggers the release of dopamine.
Oh, wow.
Which is basically that feel-good chemical in your brain.
So you're not just imagining it.
No, it's like your brain is rewarding you.
That's amazing.
For moving forward.
I love that.
And speaking of feeling good.
Right.
Both sources highlight the importance of resilience.
Oh, yeah. Resilience is so important.
Like that ability to bounce back from setbacks.
Absolutely.
So when something doesn't go your way, do you just crumble?
Yeah.
Or do you find a way to adapt and keep going?
Yeah, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And it turns out that all those personal development activities can actually strengthen your resilience.
Oh, wow.
It's like building mental muscle.
I like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's like going to the gym for your brain.
Yeah. And they both talk about mindfulness techniques, too.
Okay.
Like meditation as a way to build resilience.
That's interesting.
Have you ever tried anything like that?
I've dabbled in meditation.
Okay.
But I'm curious to hear your perspective.
Well, we know that chronic stress is incredibly bad for our mental health.
Yeah.
It's like constantly wearing your body and mind down.
It's exhausting.
It is. So resilience is like building this shield
against
all that wear and tear.
I like that.
Right. And mindfulness practices like meditation can help you develop that shield.
So it's not just about relaxing in the moment.
Right.
It's about equipping yourself.
Yes.
To handle whatever life throws at you.
Exactly.
Okay, wow, that's great.
And we can't forget about the importance of relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Both sources emphasize healthy connections as this key part of personal development and mental well-being.
Yeah, the ThriveWorks article
Yeah.
actually lists healthy relationships as an area for self-improvement.
It's so true.
Yeah, it makes you think about, those supportive friendships we all have.
Right.
And how much better they make us feel.
It's like having a support system.
Yeah, have you ever noticed
Yeah.
how just being around people who care about you can kind of lift your spirits?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all have, and there's a good reason for that. Strong social connections have been shown to be incredibly protective
Against
mental health problems.
Right.
It's like having this safety net of support around you.
Wow, so it's not just about having people around.
Right.
It's about the quality of those connections.
Exactly.
So how do we build those really strong, supportive relationships?
That's where social intelligence comes in.
Social intelligence.
Yeah, it's your ability to understand and navigate social situations effectively.
So it's like the social equivalent of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Then just like emotional intelligence, social intelligence can be developed too.
Well, that's good to know.
The more you practice understanding social cues and communication, the better you'll become at building and maintaining those really healthy relationships.
Okay.
And those relationships, like we've been saying, can have a huge impact on your overall well-being.
So it's almost like this positive feedback loop.
It is.
Working on your personal development helps you build stronger relationships. And those strong relationships further support your mental health.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay, let's wrap up this section by talking about the link between personal growth and self-esteem.
Okay.
The ThriveWorks article is very clear.
Yeah.
That self-improvement leads to this greater sense of self-worth.
This reminds me of something from the UK CPD article.
Okay.
Remember how they talked about Maslow's theory of self-actualization?
Vaguely.
Yeah, that's the idea that we all have this inherent drive to reach our full potential.
So it's not just some self-help guru telling us to be better.
Right.
It's something that's built into our very nature.
Exactly. It's like we're wired for growth.
I like that we're wired for growth.
Yeah.
And that constant striving to become a little bit better each day.
Yes.
That's what contributes to a healthier, more resilient mind.
Absolutely.
There's this quote in the UKCPD article
that
really resonated with me. It said, by investing in their personal development, individuals are better equipped to navigate life's stresses, build meaningful relationships, and cultivate a strong sense of purpose.
It's such a powerful statement.
I know, right?
It really is.
It's like personal development isn't just about acquiring new knowledge or skills.
Right.
It's about giving yourself the tools
to
thrive in all areas of your life.
Exactly.
And those tools, those strategies that you develop through personal growth can be like a shield against mental health challenges.
It's like you're building this fortress of resilience around your mind.
I love that analogy.
Right.
One thing that really stood out to me in the ThriveWorks article was their section on specific self-improvement techniques.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like they give you this toolbox full of strategies to use.
They cover everything from setting smart goals and prioritizing self-care to practicing mindfulness and actively seeking out feedback.
That's great.
There's bound to be at least a few things in that toolkit that any listener can apply to their own life.
Exactly.
And I think that's the beauty of personal development.
What is it?
It's such an individual journey.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to self-improvement.
The key is to find what resonates with you.
Right.
What motivates you and what helps you feel your best.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
That's true.
Try new things.
Yeah.
Step outside your comfort zone and see what happens.
I like that.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this first part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I think the key takeaway is pretty clear.
What's that?
Personal development isn't just a nice thing to do if you have extra time.
Right.
It's actually a vital part of mental health and overall well-being.
It really is.
The research from these sources shows a definite link between how we grow and learn and how we feel emotionally.
Exactly. And that knowledge can be really empowering.
It is.
It means we have the ability to shape our mental health.
Okay.
through the choices we make and the actions we take.
We've only just scratched the surface here, though.
I know there's so much more to explore
I know.
in terms of specific techniques and strategies for personal development and how they can really benefit our mental health.
I'm ready to keep digging it.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's dive back into these sources and see what else we can uncover.
Okay.
About this connection between personal growth and a healthier, happier life.
Sounds good.
It's interesting how these two sources approach personal development from, like, slightly different angles.
Yeah.
You know, the UKCPD article is really grounded in research.
Right.
With all these, like, fascinating studies to back up their points.
It's like they do a deep dive into the science behind why personal growth is good for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the ThriveWorks article.
Yeah.
It's more like a practical guide. You know, almost like a toolkit for self-improvement.
It's like, okay, now that you understand the why,
Right.
here's the how.
And I think that's really valuable for you, the listener.
Right.
You get, the scientific backing from the research, but then you also get some actionable steps to take in your own life.
It's empowering, to realize that you actually have some control over your mental health.
Totally.
Through personal development.
Like you're taking charge of your well-being.
Absolutely.
One thing that really struck me in the UKCPD article was their emphasis on the process of personal development.
Right.
Not just the outcome. It's not just about checking goals off a list.
Exactly. They highlight how simply engaging in activities that challenge you to grow can really boost your confidence and self-esteem.
Okay.
Regardless of whether you achieve like a specific result.
That totally connects with the growth mindset idea.
Yes.
We talked about earlier, right?
Absolutely.
Like embracing challenges as opportunities to learn.
Right.
Instead of seeing them as threats.
And when you approach personal development with that mindset, setbacks become a lot less discouraging.
Right.
Which can make a huge difference for your mental health.
It's like reframing failure as a stepping stone to success.
Right. And the ThriveWorks article touches on that as well.
Right.
They emphasize the importance of developing a growth mindset. They even provide some practical tips on how to do that.
Like what?
Like setting realistic goals, breaking down big tasks into smaller steps.
Okay.
And focusing on progress rather than perfection.
Those are some great takeaways. It's almost like a roadmap for navigating the self-improvement journey.
Speaking of things these sources agree on,
they
both emphasize the importance of social connection.
Absolutely. It's like a recurring theme throughout both pieces. ThriveWorks lists healthy relationships as an area for self-improvement.
Right.
And the UKCPD article highlights